Good evening. You're watching the News at 6 with me, Ishan Russell. The News at 6 is all about the day's biggest developing stories, and we'll be filling you in on them over the next half hour. But first, the headlines we're tracking right now. Implementation of the historic India-Bangladesh land boundary agreement underway. India and Bangladesh exchange nearly 160 enclaves in each other's territory. War words between the BJP and the Congress over Home Minister's Hindu terror remark that lashed out at the Congress. The Congress hits back saying Sushil Kumar Shinde was quoted out of context. Floods in the aftermath of Cyclone Komen wreak havoc in eastern India. Lakhs displaced with continuous rains threatening worse to come. And tennis star Sania Mirza nominated for the Rajiv Gandhi Khel Ratna. Sports Ministry forwards Sania's name to the awards committee despite ITA missing the deadline. Well, a top story this evening. History was made at midnight when over 50,000 people living in enclaves on the Indo-Bangladesh border gained an identity as either Indian or Bangladeshi. Now, this after the two countries swapped some 160 small pockets of land on each other's territory. National flags were hoisted as the residents chose where they wanted to live and which nationality they would prefer.
68 years after India gained independence from the British rule, freedom came for the people living in enclaves along the Indo-Bangladesh border. At midnight on Friday, India and Bangladesh swapped adversely held enclaves, thus implementing the historic land boundary agreement between the two countries.
অনেক লড়াই করেছি, অনেক আন্দোলন করেছি, অনেক অনশন হয়েছে, কিন্তু তারপরে আমাদের স্বাধীনতা কোনো দুঃখ ভুলে আনন্দ দুঃখ সব ভুলে গেছি এই মশাল জ্বালিয়ে।
हम लोगों का सब मिल जाएगा, आइडेंटिटी कार्ड, आधार कार्ड सब मिल जाएगा, इसलिए बहुत खुश लग रहा है हमको। इतने साल बाद हमको नेशनलिटी मिला।
In all 162 enclaves located in one country but officially belonging to the other were swapped. The solution came over 4 decades after the two countries first tried to untangle the complex territorial rights set down in 1713. People of 111 Indian enclaves in Bangladesh and 51 Bangladeshi enclaves in India hoisted the national flags to celebrate their independence. Around 14,200 residents of the Bangladeshi enclaves have now become Indian citizens, while over 37,300 people in Indian enclaves are now citizens of Bangladesh.
July 31st, 2015 has turned out to be a very historic day for both India and Bangladesh. Ground has now been prepared for the physical movement of those people in Indian enclaves who have now asked and exercised the option of moving to the Indian mainland. And that exercise will be completed before the stipulated date of the 30th of November 2015.
The process ahead is simple enough. The next step for these new Indians is a notification to be issued by the centre. A proposal to include their names in Gram Panchayats has already gone out. The land accord was originally agreed in 1974 by then Prime Minister of India Indira Gandhi and Sheikh Mujibur Rahman of Bangladesh. But progress on the agreement stopped for a long time after Mujibur was assassinated in 1975 and subsequent governments failed to agree on the transfer of enclaves. With inputs from Akhilesh Suman, Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
On to today's big political story. The Congress and the BJP are at loggerhead once again, this time over the issue of linking terror to a particular religion. On Friday, Home Minister Rajnath Singh had accused the Congress of giving terrorism a religious colour. He said this was weakening the fight against terror. The Congress in turn accuses the BJP of trying to divert attention from more pressing issues.
In a sharp reaction to Home Minister Rajnath Singh's accusations, the Congress has retorted that the BJP should refrain from advising it on the issue of terrorism. It also accuses the Home Minister of raising unnecessary issues during his statement on the Gurudaspur terror attack, all in a bid to divide the House.
इस टेररिज्म के चलते हमने सिटिंग प्राइम मिनिस्टर श्रीमती इंदिरा गांधी को टेररिस्ट के हाथों शहीद हुए देखा है। हमने एक्स प्राइम मिनिस्टर और बनने वाले दोबारा प्राइम मिनिस्टर राजीव गांधी को टेररिस्ट के हाथों उनकी मौत देखी है। हमने बेंत सिंह चीफ मिनिस्टर सिटिंग उसकी मौत देखी है। हमने नक्सलाइट फोर्सेस एक्सट्रीमिस्ट भूतपूर्व यूनियन मिनिस्टर विद्याचरण शुक्ला को देखा है और बड़े लीडरों को देखा। हमने हजारों लीडरों को एमएलएज, एक्स एमएलएज और पदाधिकारियों इस एक्सट्रीमिज्म और टेररिज्म के शिकार हुए हैं। लेकिन भारतीय जनता पार्टी को हमको लेक्चर देने की जरूरत नहीं।
Congress leader and the country's former Home Minister Sushil Kumar Shinde also clarifies that he never used the term Hindu terrorism inside Parliament. He, however, acknowledged using it during a function in Jaipur, but also said that he issued a clarification later.
UPA सरकारमध्ये असताना हिंदू टेरर हा शब्द वापरला म्हणून पार्लमेंटमध्ये मी कधी हिंदू टेरर हा शब्द वापरला नाही। एकदा पक्षाच्या ह्याच्यावर जयपूरला असताना त्या ठिकाणी हिंदू टेरर अशा प्रकारचा शब्द केलेला होता, पण लगेच मी ते करेक्ट केलं आणि टेररिझमला कुठलीही जात असत नाही अशा प्रकारचं मी भाष्य केलेलं होतं। ना हिंदू असत नाही, ना मुस्लिम असत नाही, ना आणखी कुठल्या जातीचं त्याला जातपात असत नाही अशा प्रकारची भूमिका घेतलेली होती।
But the BJP is standing behind Rajnath Singh as one. The party accuses Congress leaders of using the term from time to time.
कार्यक्रम में सुशील कुमार शिंदे ने कहा था कि नहीं कहा था कि भारत को हिंदू टेरर से बहुत चिंता है। चिदम्बरम साहब ने क्या कहा था जब वो गृह मंत्री थे, उन्होंने सैफरन टेरर की बात कही थी।
During his statement on the Gurdaspur incident inside Lok Sabha on Friday, Home Minister Rajnath Singh had accused the previous UPA government of giving terrorism a religious angle.
पूर्व गृह मंत्री ने हिंदू आतंकवाद जैसे एक नई टर्मिनोलॉजी का इजाद किया था ताकि जो जांच की दिशा है उस जांच की दिशा को बदल दिया जाए।
The remark had prompted many opposition parties to demand that it be expunged. Shyam Sundar's report for Rajya Sabha Television.
And let's go across to our correspondent Shyam Sundar, who's been keeping a track of this story. Shyam, it seems that the aggressive stance of both the Congress and the BJP that we witnessed over the past 2 weeks in Parliament is going to continue for the coming weeks, given the fact that they're both talking about issues, trying to put each other down on the back foot.
Definitely, Shan, and we have seen on Friday when Home Minister Rajnath Singh made a statement on the incident of Gurdaspur, where some terrorists attacked a police station, and when he was giving the statement in Lok Sabha, the whole opposition was in full attention and nobody disturbed him. But after he finished the statement, of course, Congress party MPs, they continued with their protest and they came to the well, and then Home Minister Rajnath Singh again made some comments, and he said that Congress has weakened the fight against terrorism by linking terrorism with a particular religion, and they said that Congress is responsible for coining the term Hindu terrorism, and he blamed the UPA government, and he blamed the former Home Minister Sushil Kumar Shinde, and he said that he in the parliament said that he used that term Hindu terrorism. So after that, Congress was very aggressive, and not only Congress, Trinamool Congress was also very aggressive in the parliament, and they demanded that that should not go on record and it should be expunged from the records. And we have seen that after that, outside parliament, Mr. Ghulam Nabi Azad, senior leader of Congress, he issued a clarification, and not only he, former Home Minister Chidambaram and Mr. Shinde, they also issued clarifications. And but after that, the way BJP party has backed Mr. Rajnath Singh, Home Minister, it is very, very
Shyam,
clear that
where do we move from here? What do we see?
Also be one of the issues in the parliament in coming week.
Absolutely. What do we see in parliament in the coming week now? Do we see more logjam? There's an all-party meeting that's supposed to happen tomorrow. The Congress, of course, still saying that nothing has been done by the government to warrant their attendance in that particular meeting. So in that sense, the stalemate that we've witnessed so far in the monsoon session of Parliament is all set to continue.
Well, Ishan, as far as all-party meeting is concerned, Speaker Sumitra Mahajan also called a all-party meeting, and in that meeting also Congress said that if government doesn't come with some concrete proposals, there is no point of having an all-party meeting. And after this offer by Mr. Venkaiah Naidu, Parliamentary Affairs Minister, after that also Congress has given a statement that if government has some concrete proposal, then only opposition can consider to review its stand in the Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha. But as of now, as far as BJP is concerned and as far as government is concerned, government is not ready to accept the demands made by opposition parties, especially Congress. Because when we asked question to Mr. Venkaiah Naidu, he said the most concrete proposal which government can give to opposition is that the government is ready to discuss any issues under the rule of parliament.
Right.
So that is government saying from very first day. But so I don't see that it is going to be a very fruitful all-party meeting.
All right, on that note, we'll wrap it up. But Sham, thank you very much for coming in and helping us, giving us that update on that particular story. Sham, of course, will be keeping a track of developments over there for us. Now, moving on, concerned over the Islamic State threat to India, the Home Ministry today convened a meeting with senior-most police officials and bureaucrats of at least 10 states. The thrust was on how to frame an effective strategy to counter extremist ideologies such as those propagated by the Islamic State and also to prevent Indian youth from getting radicalized by such forces. The meeting was chaired by Union Home Secretary L.C. Goel. Meanwhile, efforts are on to secure the release of the 2 Indian teachers reportedly held hostage by the Islamic State in Libya. 2 of the 4 Indians abducted in Tripoli were released yesterday. They've been brought safely to the Indian embassy in Tripoli and will be brought back to India soon.
Yesterday, through our efforts, we were able to secure the release of 2 of those Indians. In fact, they have now come back from Sirte to the Indian embassy in Tripoli. They are currently residing in the Indian embassy in Tripoli. And our efforts are continuing to secure the release of the remaining 2, after which all 4 can then come to India.
Time now for a very quick break. Coming up on the other side, Australia vows to fight for the prosecution of those responsible for downing MH17. Details of that after this break. Welcome back. You're watching the news at 6. Time now for check out what else is making news across the country nationwide. Pakistani Rangers today violated ceasefire by resorting to small arms firing and mortar shelling on border outposts along the international border in Jammu district. The firing drew retaliation from the BSF. 3 border outposts of the BSF were targeted in the firing. RJD Chief Lalu Prasad has been urged to stop his plan of using more than 1,000 horse-drawn carriages during the party's campaign for the upcoming Bihar Assembly elections. The People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals on Friday wrote to Lalu asking him to desist from carrying out his plan as it was against the Election Commission advisory. Samajwadi Party leader Mohammad Farooq Ghosi was suspended today for demanding a Rajya Sabha nomination for the widow of 1993 Mumbai serial blast convict Yaqub Memon. State President Abu Azmi, however, distanced himself from the matter, saying that an explanation will be sought from Ghosi on the content of his letter. The Army's Eastern Command in Kolkata got a new chief in Lieutenant General Parveen Bakshi. The Lieutenant General Bakshi took over from Lieutenant General MMS Rai, who has now been promoted as the Vice Chief of Army Staff in New Delhi. The Eastern Command has its territorial jurisdiction in West Bengal and over all northeastern states. Now, in the aftermath of Cyclone Komen, the flood situation in West Bengal and Odisha has turned grim. More than a dozen districts in both states have in fact been affected, with lakhs of people displaced. Continuous rains and thunderstorms have made matters worse for people. Other neighbouring states like Manipur, Bihar and Jharkhand are also receiving heavy rainfall.
Floods triggered by Cyclone Komen continue to wreak havoc in West Bengal and Odisha. Lakhs of people have been displaced and thousands have been rendered homeless in both states, where several districts remain inundated. Adding to the people's misery is the continuous downpour. Extremely heavy rainfall owing to Komen has resulted in overflowing of major rivers, further aggravating the flood situation. At least 39 people have lost their lives in West Bengal alone.
গাড়ি ডুবে গেছে এবার আমরা নিজে যান বাঁচানোর জন্য এমনভাবে বেরিয়েছি এমনভাবে বেরিয়েছি মানে সাঁতরেই বেরিয়েছি নাহলে আমরা নিজেরাই 12টা মানে 6টা গাড়ি স্টাফ 12টা স্টাফই মরে যেতাম
Incessant rains have caused waterlogging in cities as well, severely affecting road and rail traffic which remain suspended.
हमें पानी जाता पानी पास नहीं होता इसलिए दुकान का अंदर घुस जाता है पानी
Streets are waterlogged. We are facing lots of problems. We have to commute through this, the dirty waters, and the buses are not plying properly. We are not getting autos, so that's a problem.
Similar conditions prevail in Odisha as well. Bhadrak remains the worst affected district with several villages reported to be marooned.
कोमेन का प्रभाव से 1 तारीख के बाद 2 तारीख तो जो बारिश होगा 3 तारीख से थोड़ा उसका प्रभाव कम रहेगा लेकिन बारिश कंटिन्यू रहेगा ड्राई नहीं होगा जो नॉर्थ ओडिशा डिस्ट्रिक्ट में जो कैचमेंट पड़ता है सुवर्णरेखा रिवर बुढ़ाबड़ंगा ब्राह्मणी बैतरणी में अभी संभावना रहता है होने का
Meanwhile in Gujarat, the death toll due to heavy rainfall has reached 40. Though it stopped raining on Saturday, many areas remain inundated. NDRF teams are carrying out rescue and relief work in the affected region. And while coastal states in the east as well as the west continue to grapple with floods, a study by the International Water Management Institute shows that Bihar is the country's most flood-prone state. The report says, with nearly 73% of area getting flooded annually and more than 76% of the people in North Bihar at risk of getting caught in floods, Bihar is the most flood-prone state. The institute, however, has said it can ensure an objective post-flood compensatory mechanism in Bihar to enable robustness against uncertainties and minimize the burden on the state government. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
International news now, and Australia has vowed not to let up its quest to prosecute those responsible for shooting out Malaysian Airlines flight MH17, killing all 298 passengers on board. Australia says that Russia's veto of a UN resolution on Wednesday raised further questions about its involvement. 11 of the 15 members of the Security Council voted in favour of the resolution that was drafted by Australia, Belgium and Malaysia, the Netherlands and the Ukraine. Countries including Australia, Britain, France and the US accused pro-Russian separatist rebels of shooting the plane down with a surface-to-air missile supplied by Russia. However, Moscow denies involvement in the incident and in fact blames the Ukrainian military for it. The plane carrying debris believed to be from the missing Malaysian Airlines flight MH370 has arrived in Paris. The debris was found on La Réunion Island early on Wednesday. From Paris, it will be transported to a Defence Ministry laboratory in Toulouse for further analysis. Flight MH370 had vanished in March 2014 while it was flying to Beijing from Kuala Lumpur.
A ray of hope that the mystery around the disappearance of MH370 might unravel soon. It's been over a year since the Malaysian airliner vanished into thin air en route to Beijing with 239 people on board. Debris believed to be from a Boeing 777 and possibly from MH370 has arrived in French capital Paris. It will be transported to a Defence Ministry laboratory in Toulouse for further analysis. An object believed to be from the wing part of the plane was found in the Indonesian island of La Réunion early on Wednesday. A day later, some more debris washed ashore. It appears to resemble remnants of a suitcase.
Less speculation on this. We wait for the result of the verification. Whether it belongs to 777 or it belongs to MH370, I think that yet to be verified. So we have sent 2 teams, one team to France, another team to the Reunion Island to look for more debris and more wreckage at the island.
Experts hope that the long wing surface known as the flaperon and the fragment of luggage could yield forensic clues to the fate of MH370. The laboratory in Toulouse will verify the serial number of the wing flap first before conducting further tests to try to establish how it came to be separated from the rest of the plane.
Obviously, there's strong evidence to suggest that the wreckage found on Reunion Island does come from a Boeing 777. That has not yet been confirmed, but the pictures that are available for people to examine are certainly consistent with the parts from the wing of a Boeing 777.
The Reunion Island is roughly 3,700 kilometers from the broad expanse of the southern Indian Ocean of Australia, where search efforts were focused. If the debris is actually from the vanished plane, then it will bring closure for relatives of the missing passengers, who are still uncertain about the fate of their loved ones. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Let's now take a look at some more international news in Global Buzz. Several of Osama bin Laden's family members appeared among those killed in a plane crash when a business jet crashed in Hampshire in the UK. According to reports in the Arab media, the dead included bin Laden's stepmother, Rajya Hashim, and sister Sana. Osama's brother-in-law, Zuhair Hashim, is also believed to be among the dead. Leith al-Khaldi, an 18-year-old protester shot by Israeli troops, has died of his wounds. Palestinian health officials said the teenager died after being shot in the chest on Friday during a demonstration of the killing of a Palestinian toddler by suspected Jewish extremists. However, the Israeli military denied the allegation and said it shot al-Khalidi near Ramallah after he hurled a firebomb at them. Sri Lankan Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe has reportedly ordered the nation's Inspector General of Police to immediately arrest the suspects who opened fire at a United National Party rally in Colombo on Friday. One woman was killed and 13 others were injured in a drive-by shooting at the rally. Further investigations are being carried out by the Criminal Investigations Department. One crew member is still missing after a passenger ferry caught fire off the coast of the northern Japanese island of Hokkaido on Friday. The missing crew member has been identified as Kunihiko Orita, a 44-year-old second officer who is believed to have stayed behind to deal with the fire. The other 93 passengers and crew got to safety in the life raft, which were picked up by nearby ferries and Coast Guard vessels. Japanese media reported that the fire started on a truck on the lower cargo deck of the ferry. Around 100 students camped overnight in the Ministry of Education compound in Taipei to protest textbooks they say are aimed at promoting Beijing's One China policy. On Friday, nearly 700 students climbed barricades around the ministry demanding an audience with the education minister. The students said that the revisions to high school textbooks present a warped version of history slanted towards China and are aimed at brainwashing them to accept the One China policy. Time for us to take a very quick break right now. Coming up on the other side, all the sports news. Ranveer Singh Saini becomes the first Indian golfer to win a gold at the Special Olympics World Games. More on that on the other side. Welcome back. You're watching the news at 6. Some sports news now. And Wimbledon's double champion Sania Mirza has been recommended for the Rajiv Gandhi Khel Ratna Award. This is confirmed by the Home Ministry, which also said that the final decision rests with the awards committee. Sania won her career's first ever women's doubles Grand Slam title with Swiss partner Martina Hingis this June. She also attained the top ranking in doubles before winning the grass court major. Sports Minister Sarbanda Sonowal has recommended the tennis ace for the country's highest sporting honour. Sania, who's won 3 mixed doubles Grand Slams in her career, is reportedly competing with squash player Deepika Palekar and discus thrower Vikas Kaura for the prestigious award. Time now for all the other sports action and sports speed. Ranveer Singh Saini has become the first Indian golfer to win a gold medal at the Special Olympic World Games in Los Angeles. The 14-year-old autistic golfer achieved the feat in a GF Golf Level 2 alternate shot team play event on Friday. Ranveer and his partner Monica Jaju were 9 shots clear of joint second-place teams from Hong Kong and Nippon. 21 nations participated in the event. 2 years ago, Ranveer became the first Indian golfer to win 2 gold medals at the Asia-Pacific World Games. India's Jyoshna Chinnappa has stormed into the final of the Victoria Open squash tournament in Melbourne. In women's singles semi-final, third seed Chinnappa defeated Aussie Christine Nunn 11-7, 11-5, 11-9 to book a place in the final. For the trophy, she'll face second place Line Hansen of Denmark on Sunday. Indian off-spinner Ravichandran Ashwin was awarded the Arjuna Award on Friday by the Sports Minister. Though the honour was conferred on him last year, the 28-year-old had been unable to attend the ceremony as he was part of the Indian cricket team touring England. Ashwin has represented India in 24 tests and 97 one-dayers and also was part of the World Cup winning squad in 2011. And that's all from us. Goodbye.